After 133 years, the curtain will come down on Goodison Park as Everton gets set for a move to their new home at Bramley Moor Dock. Fittingly, this would be the 120th Merseyside Derby staged at the Grand Old Lady, with the sides locked at 41 wins apiece. This stadium has played host to some memorable matches down through the years, and the images of the legends that created special moments are etched around the stands as a tribute to the golden days for Evertonians. In a twist of fate, the final Merseyside Derby at Goodison was rescheduled from earlier in the season, meaning that the Toffees' iconic boss David Moyes would be back in the dugout as the Blues face the Reds one last time on this most famous of stages. Peter, tonight is obviously a special edition of this fixture for the reasons we've outlined above, but this is a game through the years that has never been short of drama.
No, absolutely not. I mean, you have to go back. I mean, everybody knows the history of Goodison Park. They actually played at Anfield, and there was a debate over and an argument over rent. So eventually, the Evertonians built a purpose-built stadium, the first purpose-built football stadium in the UK in 1892, 1894. The first Merseyside derby for Everton hosting Liverpool here at this ground, and incidentally I wasn't there. Everton won it by 3-0. But if you're talking about special games down throughout the years, I mean, a certain generation will look back to 1967. There was an FA Cup tie here. So many people wanted to get into it with Everton hosting Liverpool. They had 65,000 here. They had 40,000 beaming it back to Anfield, such was the demand, and Everton ran out 1-0 winners, the great Alan Ball scoring on that occasion. When you go through the years and those magnificent games, of course, the one that fills so many Evertonians with dread is Everton 0, Liverpool 5. Ian Rush scored 4 here, and they had the great Neville Southall in goal. That was an unbelievable match. When you think of something that was really poignant, you can go to 1989. This whole city was filled with grief after the Hillsborough disaster. The two teams came together, they united in solidarity, in support of each other, and they remembered the fact that, you know, a tabloid newspaper, the police and the government tried to tarnish the great name of this city and the people of this city. But they came together, it ended 0-0, perhaps fittingly, and the people who lost so many of their family in that tragedy at Hillsborough were remembered on that day. 97 eventually perished, but they will never be forgotten. Red and blue came together, it finished 0-0, and that was a match that not long after, Everton and Liverpool came together here in a classic FA Cup tie, possibly one of the best Merseyside derbies I've ever seen. At Goodison Park, it was Everton 4, Liverpool 4. Tony Cottee equalised in the 89th minute. It was a match that I think, everybody savoured. It was just unbelievable, and everything you could possibly wish for in a game. John Barnes scored a curler with the right boot, I'll never forget. Great game. Eventually, just 48 hours later, Kenny Dalglish, who had attended so many funerals, the pressure of being the Liverpool manager, the pressure of the Hillsborough disaster, he resigned as Liverpool manager, and eventually Liverpool played the replay and lost it 1-0 to Everton. So, I mean, that was a momentous game. And then when you go back to just last season, Sean Dyche was the manager, Jurgen Klopp was looking to get the title for Liverpool, and Everton with Braithwaite and Calvert-Lewin scored the 2 goals here to win it for Everton 2-0. So I'm taking you down through the memories of this wonderful tie, something that I think so many Evertonians and Liverpool fans will share tonight. The emotion of it, the last time, hopefully it lives up to the billing.
Kick-off was fast approaching as all those around the city were gearing up for a memorable clash.
I talk about this a lot, how the fact that there is only one sport that is either talked about, played or watched here, and that is football, and it's absolutely huge. And especially in the past 4 or 5 years, you've seen a lot of people come over to travel and to watch the games. Like, it's becoming quite a popular thing to do for a lot of tourists. You see a lot of American people, I know there's a lot of Norwegian people and people from all around the world. And it's great seeing those sorts of people come in and find the shop and then find, I suppose, their grail, their shirt which they've been looking for. And then obviously the locals and anyone like from England are also massively into football. majority of the time, especially if they're in Liverpool, I always think.
The night air was filled with the scent of lit flares and anticipation. For some, this would be the first and only taste of Goodison under the lights on Derby Day. For others, it would be a farewell to an old friend. How are you feeling about the move to the new stadium?
I was just saying to my mates, we need to go. When people always say, oh, you shouldn't move and that, they've not been to the stadium. It's time, it's finished now, it's old. So we do need to move. I know nostalgia's a strong thing, but we need to move on to kick on.
It's been planned, or at least they've been talked about it since like 2001, when before that idea got scrapped. So it's always been in the works. Really, it was just more so about when rather than if. And now that it's coming closer and closer, it becomes a lot more surreal. Like, this is the last cup game, last FA Cup, League Cup, Derby, night game, and then soon eventually Southampton will come, and it's the last game ever. And a lot of people will say, oh, it's just a bunch of bricks, but for a lot of people it's memories, especially for me, and especially for my dad as well.
The home side and the home supporters were hoping for the dream of the win. 41 wins each going into this, and in the 120th derby here at Goodison Park, it was Everton who took the lead through Beto. Wonderful ball, and he finished with aplomb. And then obviously Liverpool, with the quality they have, got the equaliser through Alexis McAllister. It drifted into the box. His header took an age to nestle into the back of the net, and that made it 1-1. In the second half, well, I thought Everton were the better side, but Liverpool, with their quality, with Mo Salah, you can't leave him alone. And inside that box, he rifled it with his right foot after a slip-up from the Everton defenders, and suddenly Liverpool were about to spoil the party. They were 2-1 in front. Then, in the 98th minute, with all hope seemingly lost, a long ball into the box. It broke to James Tarkowski, and he rifled it into the roof of the net and raised the roof here, like many of the previous great derbies that had been played here at Goodison Park. It finished 2-2, but there were a few incidents that undoubtedly everybody will be talking about. 2 red cards for players on the park. Of course, Curtis Jones was one of them. He was involved with Doucouré. They got a red card. Arna Slot got a red card. As derbies go, it doesn't get any better than this. At Goodison Park, the last Merseyside derby here at the home of the Blues before they moved to their new stadium next season, it finished Everton 2, Liverpool 2.
The emotions got the better of me, and if I could do that differently, if I look back at it, I would love to do it differently.
Something which, when I first came, though, we were always talking about having a new stadium. But overall, I just feel that the support in here was unbelievable tonight. It was incredible support, and I think it was fitting that they got an end like they did.
And so it was written in the stars that Goodison would get one last moment for supporters to cherish. But as one door closes, another door opens, as the marvel at Bramley Moor Dock awaits, ready and waiting for new stories, new heroes, and new memories to be made.